So I've been thinking about this concept as it relates to fatherhood and authoritative positioning versus relational influence. When I think about this concept, the idea is if I use authoritative positioning, I basically pull the card, I'm the dad, I said so, and because I said so, you're going to have to listen until I guess you're 18 and you're out of our house and you can make your own decisions. Relational influence is a little bit different. It's a lot more tricky, it's a lot more sticky, and it takes a lot more work. But I believe that that's the best way through. And because if authoritative positioning stops at 18, I believe relational influence continues on far beyond that. And my goal isn't just to have as much power as I can until you leave the home. My hope is that my girls would have relational equity. We have relationship well beyond 18. When they're 20 something and they're going through a hard thing, I hope that they call me and ask for my advice or allow my influence to also, even if they don't have to, and I can't tell them, no, you can't go out with this friend or you can't go out with this boy or something like that. At least there's maybe relational influence where they're at least open to hearing my thoughts and respect the things I have to say. And so I want to, as it relates to this, I think of I have 3 teenage daughters. And so, of course, the question has come up long before, Dad, when can I date? What age can I date, right? And I think that's the wrong question. And I tell them that. I said, it's not a matter of what age you can date. Because I'm not going to say, okay, when you turn 15, then you can date. Well, what if they really, really feel like they want to date before that? They're going to go around my back anyway. And they're going to get in the habit of like hiding things and trying to skate around the rules that I've set up. I'm more about like the relational connection and influence of saying, well, tell me a little bit more. Tell me why it makes sense for you to date while you're 12 or while you're 13. Like, what does that even look like? And as we have that conversation, and if you really feel like you want to, quote, date, let's talk about it. And, there are some conditions. Like if you want to date, I need to talk to the boy and I want to kind of set some boundaries and some guidelines. However, I'm not going to restrict you from dating because I feel like that's more of an authoritative positioning where I'm just saying, nope, you can't date till you're 18 or 16 or whatever. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I'd rather have the long-term relational equity where I say, hey, and I've had this happen actually with my girls. And so a couple of times they've wanted and had relationships with boys, and I've sat down with the boys and I talked with them about our standards and our boundaries and asked them to respect that and agree to that. But at the end of the day, they're free to choose to, quote, date these boys. And then my daughters on their own accord realized this doesn't really make sense. I'm 16, 15 or whatever. And the relationship, I asked them, what's the purpose of dating, right? And have them go through that. And so I think it's really important to think through what are the markers of why it makes sense to date, when, how, what does that look like? And then we build relational influence where they're going to come to me and ask me advice about dating rather than permission to date. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but that was just my rambling on authoritative positioning versus relational influence. I think our goals as fathers should be always relational influence because that's long lasting, and the positional authority is just short lasting.